In this week's Tablet Tip Tuesday, I'm going to show you how to use parameter actions to create an interactive quadrant chart. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is connect to Superstore sales. I'm going to change my discount, the default properties for my discount, to be an average. And I also want to represent that as a percentage, maybe to 1 decimal. I want to compare discount to my profit ratio. So let's go ahead and create a profit ratio calculation. That's going to be the sum of profit divided by the sum of sales. Okay, and let's set the default number format for that as well. All right, great. So I'm going to put that on the rows. And I want to look at this for each product. So I'm going to drag product to the detail shelf. And we get something like that. Okay, if I don't want product, maybe I could look at it by customer to make, there we go. Let's use customer. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to create 2 reference lines and break it up into a quadrant. So let's go ahead and first let's create 2 parameter actions, or 2 parameters. So I'm going to right click on my discount field, go to create parameter, and I'm just going to call that my discount parameter. That's fine. I'm going to turn off the minimum and the maximum values, and I'm going to change my display to be a percentage, maybe to 1 decimal. Okay, I'm going to set the current value to maybe like 0.2. Don't really have to do that. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and show that so we can see what it does. And I create another parameter based on my profit ratio. So right click on profit ratio, create parameter, and I'm going to set it up the same way. So I'm going to set my percentage to 1, maybe set my default to, let's just leave it at 0.1 for now, and turn off my min and my max. Okay, and let's show that. Now I'm only showing you these so we can see them update as we change the view. So now I want to put a reference line on. So I want to put a reference line on my discount, and that's going to be based off of my discount parameter. And I'm going to turn the tooltip off, and I'm just going to set the label to the value itself. And I'm going to make it a dotted line and black. Okay, I'll make it a bit thicker so we can see it a bit better as well. Okay, so now let's drag on another reference line, this time for the profit ratio. And I'm going to set this one to use the profit ratio parameter. Set it to use the value, no tooltip. And then I'm going to go ahead and again make it thick and black. And notice this tooltip, that is a new option in 2019.2 as well. You can turn off the tooltip for reference lines. Okay, great. So we have those 2 things. I'm going to actually format this line, and I'm going to align it to the right so it doesn't get lost in amongst the marks. Okay, great. So now what we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and set up a worksheet action. And I'm going to add a parameter action. So I'm going to choose change parameter. And I'm going to call this update discount. And I'm going to do it on hover. And I'm going to update my discount parameter with the field average, or my target parameter is discount parameter, and the field I want to base it on is the average discount. So hit OK, and hit OK again. And now you can see as I hover around, you can see my reference line move. The reason I didn't do a click action is because if I click, it makes everything else go gray. So that's where I like a highlight better. Although a click kind of helps it be more static. So it's really personal choice. Okay, let's set up another one. So worksheet actions. And this time I'm going to, again, choose parameter. I'm going to call this one update profit ratio. And my target parameter is profit ratio. And I'm going to update my profit ratio. There we go. And now I have this line as well. So now when I click, you can see that both reference lines move to that point at the same time. Okay, great. So now that we have that, let me just go ahead and change my mark types to circles, and I'm going to kind of reduce the opacity a bit. Okay, maybe something like that. But now what I want to do is I want to be able to color each of those quadrants. So I'm going to create a calculated field. I'm going to call it quadrant color. And I'm going to say if my average discount is greater than my discount parameter, maybe I'll say greater than or equal to, and my profit ratio is bigger than or equal to, oops, what happened there? My profit ratio, it's not dragging in, there we go, is bigger than or equal to my profit ratio parameter. I forget the word and disappeared there. Then I'm just going to call this my, so that is my upper right. Okay, and now I'm just going to copy that and start with an else. Oops, this should be else if, one word. So now I want to say if the discount is, let me make that equal to, so let's say this is less than, so that means my average discount is to the left, but my profit ratio is up. So I'm going to call this my upper left. And again, I'm going to do else if. So this time I want to say my discount is above, but my profit ratio is below. And that's going to be my bottom right. And then, of course, the only other option is bottom left. Okay, and then end. Great. Okay, so now we can put that on the color shelf, and we get 4 colors. Now, in this case, so let's see, high discount, low profit ratio, so that'd be the bottom left. Those are kind of the bad ones, so I'm going to make those red. And again, if we have high, I'm sorry, I think I got that wrong. High discount, low profit would be my bottom right. So that's going to be the bad ones. So make that bad. The bottom left is unprofitable, but a low discount. So maybe I'll make that one pink. The upper left is low discount, high profits. Those are really good ones. So I'm going to make that blue. And then my upper right is still good, but not as good. So why don't I just pick a different color blue for that one? Okay, there we go. So now so let me increase the opacity a bit so we can see the colors a bit better. There we go. So now you can see as I hover in here, I can kind of pick where I think my ratio should be or where my reference line should be. And my quadrants colors automatically update based on wherever I hover over the view. And let me show you again how this works if you set these as select. So I'm going to go back into my worksheet actions. I'm going to change this to a select action and then also change this one to a select action. Now, when I hover over, these don't update. So, but when I click, it looks fine, right? The reference lines move, but everything else is grayed out until I click out. I don't really like the way that works. So that's why I have it set up as a highlight action. So it's personal preference, but I personally like the highlight. Now, one thing you need to know is when you put this into a dashboard, you're going to need to reset up the action. So let me just go ahead and make this, let me just make it a simple square and put that in there. And let me turn these off. And oh, actually, I meant to point out, you can see how my parameters now update based on what I pick here. So, but notice how nothing is changing, right? So I need to set up my actions again. So I'll have to go up here to this time to dashboard actions and add a parameter. And I'm just going to call parameter 1 for time's sake, discount and average discount, and make it hover. And then I'm going to add another one. Again, I would probably give these better names. I want to update my profit ratio parameter with my profit ratio. Okay, and again on hover. So now when I update the view here, you can see them all update accordingly. But again, just note that worksheet actions do not carry over to a dashboard, so you're going to have to reset them. So I hope you found that helpful. I'm really, really excited about this new feature and plan to publish a series of videos with different use cases. So that's it for today. Have a good day.